Hey guys, Jeff here again, and here we go, moving along the steps, and we're on step 2. I'm going to read the title. I will pause this, and I will read step 2 on my own, and then I'll come back and I'll share with you what I got out of step 2 this time. And for anyone who hasn't seen previous videos, the question comes up, you've been sober so long, why do you need to read the step to talk about it? I don't. The reason why I read the step is because every time I read it, something different jumps out at me. I read something that I need to hear. So that's why I'm doing it. So I'm going to read. I'm going to share with you what jumped out at me tonight, and then I'll share what it meant to me when I first started getting sober, very early on in my recovery. So that's what I'm going to do here. So, got my good old faithful out. We are going to, again, I'm just going to read the title. I'm not going to go too crazy. So step 2 basically is, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity. So, it's a little loaded. We got two words in there, a few words, higher power, sanity, that kind of stuff. I don't want to give it away. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So I'm going to read right now, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back, and as always, it just jumps off the page what I need to hear on any given day. This is why I love always, reading the step book, the big book, all the AA literature. It always seems that what I need to hear at a given day, given period of my life, always seems to jump out at me. And today was no different. So let's jump in a little bit. I got the step book here. I just got done reading step 2. The funny thing about it, I shouldn't say the funny thing, is that I'm sober a long time, and just now as I'm reading this, the words sanity, obsession, all that kind of stuff jumped out at me. Childhood faith, right? Losing our foundation from our childhood faith, things along those lines. That's what some of the things that step 2 talks about. That kind of jumped out at me because I do pray every day, and thank God, from the time I got sober and all this time later, I always pray every day. I will be honest, sometimes I just go through the motions, and my feeling isn't really behind the prayer. It's just like, I'm just kind of going through the motions, because it's a habit. Maybe there's a little underlying fear there that I don't want to miss a day of prayer, because that's one of the constants that has gotten me sober and has, helped me stay sober. But I do tend to get a little, again, methodical and non-emotional with my prayer. Like I'm not into it. So that's one of my shortcomings that I need to work on all the time, right? It comes and goes. But that's kind of where I'm at lately. I was kind of getting into a little bit of a rut, as far as prayer and meditation goes. So, that's something I needed to hear. And, am I going to get back to my childhood faith fully? I never really, I can't say that in sobriety I got away from it. I kind of got back to it in sobriety, right? And I was raised Catholic, so a lot of my Catholic upbringing did come back to me. I do practice some of those prayers and things along those lines, and I add it into my sobriety, right? Because the bottom line is that God and AA comes before anything else in my life, including my religion, because God, as I see him or her in AA, is a little different than what the nuns taught me in Catholic grammar school. Just being honest. So those are some things that jumped out. The obsession of using, and as it relates to step 2, it's really more about the control, that we have like this obsession with control. And I don't know, we are, you know what it is? We're insane. And that's another thing that step 2 always, that it's right in the title, that restoring us to sanity suggests we are insane. It's a tough pill to swallow. I have, this is the old saying, insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That is who we are in a nutshell, right? For whatever reason, I don't know what it is. I could tell you, when they talked about alcohol being a disease and a mental illness, or that I'm mentally ill when I first started getting sober, I'm like, I'm not mentally ill. I got a problem smoking crack, right? Well, you know what? Normal people don't do that. So, these are some things that step two talks about. And, again, I needed to hear about the sanity aspect of it and my childhood faith as it relates to me being a little lackadaisical with my prayer lately. So that's what I needed to hear today. But early on, and what step two means in a nutshell is that, we need to come to that belief that something, it says higher power, but something greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity, right? Step one, we put the drink down, we realize that our lives are a mess. Now we need something greater than ourselves to help us get better, right? And restore us to sanity. So if it's restoring us to sanity, we are insane. And there are a lot of people out there that are struggling with addiction because they can't acknowledge that the insanity in drinking every day, doing drugs all the time, all the bottoms and consequences of their actions, and even people who, I feel really bad for potheads, I'll be honest with you. They literally go through life stoned. And you know what? They'll probably never reach a low enough bottom to understand that they're literally walking around like zombies. They're constantly high and stoned because they're like me. They don't like who they are, so they have to mask it with, basically anesthetizing themselves, right? There's no difference between, drinking and pot's legal all over the place now, right? There's really no difference between the two anymore, except that people use it as an escape from who they are. That's why I did what I did. So we have to understand that, that's a sanity issue, right? And turning your life over or looking to something greater than yourself or a higher power to restore some balance into your life. If you, God, Buddha, Allah, whatever, right? Some people will use AA as their higher power, right? Meetings, their sponsors and spiritual advisors. Those things are power. Their power is greater than us because they're living sober lives. They can help us, right? I don't recommend you put people on a pedestal, but they could certainly be something greater than you at that point early in your recovery to help you along. And if you choose to tap into your childhood faith, or maybe you choose to seek other spiritual endeavors to use or rely on as a higher power, it's step two. They didn't wait very long to tell you you need some semblance of faith, right? Whatever that means to you. And that's the beautiful thing about AA, whatever it means to you. So, and I jotted down a few notes here. Just the words that jump out at me: sanity, obsession, higher power, letting go of control of our lives, which is really hard, right? If we had any success controlling our lives, we wouldn't be in AA, right? But those are some things that step two talks about. And I can tell you right now, if it wasn't important, it wouldn't be here, okay? So if you have a problem talking about God or religion, that's okay. You don't have to. Just understand that there's something greater than us that's going to help us, right? Again, if it's AA or a sponsor or a spiritual advisor or meetings or the books, right? Whatever it is. A tree. It doesn't matter. You want to go out in the woods and walk barefoot and hug trees? It's great. If that helps ground you, that's wonderful, right? I personally tapped into my childhood religion, and obviously over the years, my spiritual journey has evolved. I've opened my mind up to reading literature from other spiritual endeavors, religions, and Buddhism, and I got news. I'm no theologian, but they all say the same stuff, right? Treat people good and be a good human. That's basically what they say in a nutshell. So you could be really religious, or you're having a hard time with God. It doesn't matter. But we have to come to believe that a power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity. Because if we can't do step two, guess what? We regress back to step one. Our lives will probably become unmanageable, and we'll probably use again. So those were the choices I had when I first got clean. Is I either get back to this God, a higher power thing, or I smoke crack and die. Right? Again, I always resort back to when I got sober. It was all about do this or die. Okay, and maybe that's not for people watching this, but maybe you have to do this or you lose everything in your life. You have to do this or you lose your family, right? Those aren't ideal things to get sober with, because we have to get sober for us, right? It's great that we want to get clean and sober for our family and loved ones, but ultimately, at some point, we have to get sober for ourselves. So if we don't accept step 2 and all it says, we're going to regress back to step 1 and our lives will be unmanageable, and again we'll use, and nobody wants that. So that's what I got out of step 2 tonight. That's my spiel, and I will see you guys soon when I go over step 3, and you'll love that because it's I'll put it on the screen for you. Okay. Oh, there is it. There you go. Got it? Yeah, it's focused. Okay. More God talk. Don't stress if you're not a God person, right? If you don't believe in God or religion, it's okay. Remember, this stuff was written in 1935, right? So a lot have changed over the past almost 100 years now. There are other spiritual outlets for people. So don't stress. Right? You don't have to worry about being Catholic or Baptist or practice Judaism or be a Buddhist. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. You can still get clean. This is it. Meat and potatoes. See you guys on step 3.